Good morning. My name is Martha Gopal, and I'm your lay leader today. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this morning's service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Lower Bucks. As a small, liberal congregation, we endeavor to make this a welcoming space in which we support each other on our personal spiritual journey. As a fellowship of the spiritually curious, our values are centered on love and the goal of making the world a better place for all. To that end, we select speakers, readings, and music that will hopefully inspire you towards that goal. And in keeping with this month's theme, we are grateful for your presence here today. The November Soul Matters theme is Nurturing Gratitude. Reverend Michelle Collins says, "Nurturing gratitude requires shifting our attention from waiting for life's spectacular moments to recognizing the abundance already woven through our ordinary days." She continues, "This perspective recognizes that the practice of nurturing gratitude means training ourselves to notice the small gifts that surround us constantly." So what about having to deal with annoying people and difficult situations that sometimes seem to surround us constantly? Judy Leaf says we should be especially grateful for them because they help us practice patience, mindfulness, loving kindness, and compassion. And it occurred to me that I am sometimes that annoying, difficult person that someone else has to deal with. It's by dealing with challenges that we grow and develop, so we should be very grateful to have them. Physically practicing gratitude can actually invite joy into our lives. Anne Lamott says, "Gratitude begins in our hearts and then dovetails into behavior. It almost always makes you willing to be of service, which is where the joy resides. When you're aware of all that has been given to you in your lifetime and the past few days, it is hard not to be humbled and pleased to give back." I'd like to invite Arlette up to light the chalice while I read our opening words. One more time. Great, thank you. We practiced that, so thank you, Arlette. We come into this sacred space, this hallowed hour, made sacred by our presence and intention here. We come with deep gratitude for everyday blessings, for the dependable changing of the seasons as they follow one another, for smiles and waves and spoken greetings, for being with others in worship, for babies and puppies and kittens, and for the wisdom of the old. Everyday blessings that sustain us every day. And that's the Reverend Julia Corbett Hemeyer. Thanks. It's always a joy to have some wonderful music here and to have Avi here in person. The last time I did lay leader, he was on the screen. So it's great to have him here. And he's going to, he's selected What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong.
Good morning to everybody here in this room and on this Zoom. And wherever you are, whatever kind of day or week or year you are having, in a world that can sometimes seem dark and feel cruel, in a month when we are practicing gratitude, I know that this song always helps me remember and be grateful for the little things in life that are always there, always present, that can always remind us that there are things to be grateful for and wonderful things in this world. So please join in as we start this morning with the classic. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright blessed day and the dark sacred night. and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the skies, are also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yeah, yeah, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Thank you, Avi. I'd like to welcome Reverend Libby Smith with the message for all ages. Actually, I'm sorry, I missed a part. Today's speaker is Reverend Libby Smith. She really needs no introduction since we've had the honor of her service as our part-time minister from 2007 to 2013. Now retired, she is thankfully periodically able to provide her presence and wonderful sermons for us. Libby's sermon title is Saying Thank You, with this description: awareness of the suffering and injustice all around us can make it hard to feel grateful, but gratitude can be a profound act of resistance. And now I'd like to welcome her. Message for all ages.
Always makes me nervous when the sermon description gets read, because I have to write that so far ahead of writing the actual sermon that they don't always match. So that's what I thought the sermon was going to be about when Sherry said, I need your sermon description. We'll see. So have you ever had a really bad day? Raise your hand if you've ever had a really bad day, where just it seemed like everything was going wrong. One of my favorite picture books, and we're not going to read the whole book this morning, but some of you probably know this wonderful book called Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day by Judith Viorst. Poor Alexander. First he wakes up with gum in his hair, because he went to sleep with gum in his mouth. He wakes up with his gum in his hair, and then he trips over his skateboard, and then he drops his sweater in the sink while the water is running. And then it keeps getting worse. His brothers both find prizes in their cereal box, but his box has nothing but cereal. When he gets to school, well, on the way to school, he gets squashed in the middle seat of the carpool instead of being able to sit by the window. And then when he gets to school, he gets answers wrong, and his friends pick on him, and his mom forgot to put a dessert in his lunchbox when everybody else has a wonderful dessert. And then after school, he goes to the dentist, and he's the only one who has a cavity. And then there are lima beans at dinner, and he hates lima beans. And then on the TV, there's kissing, and he hates kissing. And then to top it off, his nightlight burns out, he bites his tongue, and the cat decides him. He keeps saying, I think I'll go to Australia. And I left out some of the bad things that happened because it was a long book and we didn't have time for all of it. So you've probably had sometime a day that kind of felt like that. I know I have. And one thing that helps me on days like that is to look for just one good thing. One good thing. It might be a really small thing, but just one little thing that's good that I can be grateful for. So I'm going to give you an example out of my own life. I have a cat. It's nice that we talked about puppies and kittens in the opening words. I have this cat named Pip. Her full name is Pipsqueak because she was the runt of the litter. She was the littlest one, but I never liked that name, so I just call her Pip. And it always makes me feel better if I can sit in my big, comfy chair in front of the fire, with Pip next to me and just pat her. She doesn't like to be on laps. She is not a lap cat, but she likes to be right next to me, stretched out against me so I can feel how warm she is. And I just stroke that soft, warm fur, and the whole world seems a little bit better. So I feel grateful for Pip. And then I start thinking about how I wouldn't even have Pip if my stepdaughter hadn't given her to me. So then I need to be grateful for my stepdaughter too. And I wouldn't even have a stepdaughter if I hadn't married John. So then I can be grateful for John. And I wouldn't have even met John if a friend hadn't invited me to go to a folk dance with her when I was new in town to help me meet some people. So I can be grateful to that friend too. And I wouldn't have come to town if Bucksmont Unitarian Fellowship hadn't called me to be their minister, so then I can be grateful to for Bucksmont. And I would never have become a minister in the first place if my parents hadn't decided to be Unitarians back before I was even born. So I can be grateful all the way back to before I was born. And by this time, you can imagine, even if it's been a bad day, I'm starting to feel just a little bit better because there have been so many lucky things. And it took each one of those things happening along the way to get me to the point that I could be sitting in my comfy chair, patting my cat Pip. So next time you have a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, try to think of one thing that you can be grateful for, and then start tracing it back. That's a little spiritual practice for this morning. And now I think we're going to sing as
Go now in peace. May the love all around you everywhere, everywhere. May
If any of you took the time to look it up after I had suggested you might want to do that and read it ahead, I'm actually going to had a colleague who told me poems should always be heard twice. And I decided I agreed. The example I used with the children about finding things about which we can say thank you was, this poem is not so lighthearted, just to warn you ahead of time. Listen, with the night falling, we are stopping on the bridges to bow from the railings, the glass rooms with our mouths full of food to look at the sky and say, standing by the water, thanking it, standing by the windows, back from a series of hospitals, back from a mother funerals, after the news of the dead, whether or not we knew them. Over telephones, we are saying thank you. In cars and in elevators, and the police things on stairs, we are saying thank you. Saying thank you in the faces of the officials and the rich and of all who will never go on saying thank you, thank you. With the animal around us taking our feelings, we are saying thank you. Falling faster than we are saying thank you. With the words going out like for us, we are saying thank you, faster and faster, with nobody listening. Thank you, we are saying, and waving, dark. With the night falling, we are saying thank you. We are stopping on the... We are running out of the glass rooms with our mouths full of food to thank you. We are standing by the water, thanking it, looking out in our directions. Back from a series of after funerals, we are saying thank you. Of the dead, whether or not we knew them, we are saying thank you. And thank you in doorways and in the backs of cars and in elevators. The police at the door, we are saying thank you. Things on the stairs, we are saying thank you. Thank you. In the faces of the officials and the rich and of all who will never change, we go, thank you, thank you. With the animals dying around us, we are saying thank you. With the forests falling faster than the minutes of our lives, saying, with the words going out like cells of a brain, with the cities growing over us, thank you, faster and faster. Listening, we are saying thank you, we are saying, and dark though it is.
You've been so kind. I don't know how you keep on giving. Your kindness, I'm indebted to you. Selflessness, my admiration for everything you've done. I'm bound to thank you for na 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 na. I don't know how you keep on giving. Yes, I'm in debt to you. Never could have come this far without you. So for everything you've done, I'm bound to thank you for it. I want to many gifts you gave with love, with tenderness. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your generosity, the love that you gave me. I want to thank you to my love for you and my respect for you. I want to thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We get to practice that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, I want to thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Ministers are always expected to preach about gratitude in November. A whole folder full of sermons like, "We give thanks," and it was really tempting to just pull one of those off and dust it off, freshen it up a little bit, because I haven't been feeling particularly grateful lately. Writing another one seemed really daunting, but it would have felt like cheating, and it would it, since undoubtedly some of you would have heard most of these at some point. When I turn to poetry, I turn to it the way some people turn to scripture. And truth, something that helps me connect to a deeper dimension, something that brings together both the joys and the struggles and pulls all the face the way life does. And so I had decided that I was going to turn to some of my favorite poets, and for each sermon, find a poem that felt to me like a poem worth wrestling with, and treat that as to use the poems as a springboard for reflection the way my that week. Now, sometimes I can only remember a fragment of the poem trying to get to that I know I love and used to know. Fragment is usually enough to get you to the whole thing, right? So when I started, our saying thank you kept going through my head. All I had to do was plug it into my search engine, and whole beautiful, terrible poem by William S. Merwin, a much more difficult poem. Like scripture, poetry can force a challenge as well as beauty. And if you're like me, you found that poem hard to hear. Images of the night falling and the sky and the water to harder of our world. Beatings and injustice and environment, and that constant refrain, we are saying thank you. Listening, we are saying thank you, we are saying, and waving dark. What does it mean to continue to say thank you of moments? Surely Merwin is not asking us to give thanks for the beating, for the police at the door, for the animals dying all around us. Some things do not deserve our gratitude. I was really tickled to see that when preaching an anti-gratitude sermon, I definitely have to ask him for a copy of that. The poem Thanks comes from Merwin's collection, The Rain 88. But he originally published a slightly different in The Nation magazine a year earlier. And that version was even harder. In a country up to its chin in shame, thank you, living in the stench it has chosen, we are saying, the crooks in office with the rich and fashionable unchanged, we go on saying thank you. Those lines felt painfully current. Laura Malik, who is herself an American poet, wrote about this originally in the Kenyon Review, and she referred to its aching irony. Well, the most irony is the use of language to say the opposite of what we really mean, right? Really bad experience, and you say, well, that went well. That's irony. And to think that Merwin might have been intending that kind of irony when he was saying he didn't really mean it, he meant just the opposite, that was going to, when I came across the sermon, it was not where I was going at all. So being the word wonk that I am, to find that there are 3 different ways of understanding the concept of irony as a literary device. a word or a phrase to indicate just exactly the opposite of what we actually look at the waiter after I have obviously mopped up every last drop of juice with my bread and say, oh, it was terrible, I couldn't eat a bite. That's a literary is known as verbal irony, okay? But there is also a kind of irony. Situational irony refers to an unexpected or paradoxical or perverse turn of events. That's what Merwin is giving us with this poem. He names terrible things, and he follows each one with, "We are saying thank you." It's an unexpected juxtaposition. It's paradoxical. It's even perverse, and it grabs our attention. But did he mean it literally? Did he really mean that we should be saying thank you? Well, I did a little more research on Merwin. And he was once asked what social role a poet plays, if any, in America. And here's his response. I think there's a kind of desperate hope built into poetry now that one really wants hopelessly to save the world. One is trying to say everything that can be said for the things that one loves while there's still time. I think that's a social role, he said, don't you? We keep expressing our anger and our love, and we hope, hopelessly perhaps, that it will have some effect. One can't live only in despair and anger without eventually destroying the thing that one is angry in defense of. The world is still here, and there are aspects of human life that are not purely destructive. Isn't that a hopeful way to put it? And there is a need, he says, to pay attention to the things around us while they are still around us. And you know, in a way, if you don't pay that attention, the anger is just bitterness. His words hit me hard. One can't live only in despair and anger without eventually destroying the thing one is angry in defense of. If I am angry and despairing over the loss of civility and kindness and decency in our society, eventually my anger becomes bitterness and kills off whatever civility and kindness and decency was still living in me. In hating, I become what I hate. So Merwin is cautioning us against that. And because of that, I believe we can take his poem absolutely at face value. That it is really asking us to find ways to say thank you at all times as an antidote to despair and anger. To pay attention to glimpses, to moments of beauty and value that surround us, even as we also face the ugliness. Because as Merwin said, if we don't pay attention, the anger is just bitterness. One of the things that makes gratitude possible, even in the worst of moments, is our awareness of the things that we love and our ability to see them and name them and speak out for them and try to save them. At the No Kings rally that I attended back in October, the Democratic candidate for Bucks County Sheriff, Danny Seisler, spoke. And he, in the context of his presentation, he brought his faith into the conversation. And Danny is Jewish, at least I assume he's Jewish, because the faith element that he brought into the conversation was the Hebrew phrase tikkun olam, which means to repair the world. And he reminded us that none of us is called to repair the entire world. Each of us is called to repair whatever little piece of the world we inhabit. The little bit where we interact with the world, we're responsible there to be working to repair it. And that work of repair, the action that we take on behalf of our little piece of the world, can be a powerful force against the fear and the despair and the anger that threaten to destroy us. And along the same lines, I want to offer a brief homage to Rabbi Arthur Waskow, who was a progressive activist who took spirituality very seriously while still maintaining a very flexible and humorous soul, and whose writing on Jewish spirituality and holidays has informed many of my sermons over the years. So many of you have heard me quote him, even if you don't remember his name. Rabbi Wasko died last month at the age of 92. And apparently when he was 91, he had a Zoom conversation with the legendary feminist Gloria Steinem, who was herself in her 90s at the time. I don't know who knew that this happened or how they got hold of what the conversation between them was, but I read that he said to Gloria Steinem that he took great comfort in something that he found in the Talmud, the writings of generations of rabbis and sages interpreting Jewish law and custom. He said, one of the rabbis said, "I'm not going to finish this work, but that doesn't mean I can quit. As long as we can continue to change the world, transform the world with more equality, more justice, more joy, more love, we'll keep on doing it." He still had that conviction at 91, which makes me feel pretty feeble about being so discouraged at 64. W.S. Merwin would not have been talking about his anger and despair over the state of the world if he didn't care deeply about the world and didn't believe that the world could and should be better than it is. Rabbi Wasko wouldn't have still been talking about transforming the world with justice, love, and joy if he didn't love the world. The very desire to repair the world holds within it our conviction that the world is worth repairing. And so our first task is to pay attention to what has value, to find those things for which we can, with genuine, heartfelt assurance, say thank you, and think about how to center ourselves on those things and let them inspire and empower us in the work to repair the world. Now, gratitude is kind of touchy business. I've heard many sermons and preached many sermons and read many inspirational articles about gratitude and gratitude as a spiritual practice and how we should just all be grateful and then we would all be healthier and happier. I think that's actually true, mind you. I have friends who keep gratitude journals and swear by this practice as something that gives tremendous meaning to their lives. And I have never been able to do it. It always feels too contrived for me. Every time I try to do it, I feel like I'm trying to write a self-help book or something. So I was really tickled and intrigued when I saw a piece in the New York Times. They do a little daily digest that comes out once a day, and you can click on things to go to more detail if you want, but there's always, it's kind of headline news. And there's always a little focus piece at the start. And this woman named Melissa Kirsch wrote about how she struggled with that same resistance, instead of being told she should be doing gratitude, you know. She has a gratitude practice that she finds really profound, and I gave you a simple example of it for the children's time this morning. But she writes, I get a little uncomfortable talking about it because I've seen the same hashtags and semi-smug social media posts that you have, the same living room art with cursive script on distressed wood about the attitude of gratitude. The concept has been so commodified, overprocessed, merched up, that it seems as if there's little else to say about it. Call it the platitude of gratitude. But then she overcomes her resistance and goes on to describe her gratitude practice. The way she starts with one small thing and traces it back through all of the many, many things that led to that thing. And she finds this practice immensely satisfying because she ends up experiencing gratitude not just for the thing that formed her starting point, which in her case was a little deck of wisdom cards that she reads one of each morning, but also for all the things that had to happen to bring those cards into her life. So the person who gave her the cards, and then the way she met that person, and so on, and so on, and so on. And thinking about all of those things amplifies her gratitude and reminds her of the amazing and mysterious ways that our lives intersect and connect with so many others, that everything is connected. Well, I thought that was great. But in trying to practice it, I realized I need to go a step further with it. And it sort of circles back to the hard pieces of Merwin's poem, too. Because when I tried this exercise, I started with that peace and pleasure of sitting by the fire with my cat Pip, quietly stroking her fur. And for the time for all ages, I stuck to all the positive things that I remembered in the chain of events that led to my having Pip. But in fact, not everything leading up to my acquisition of Pip was pleasant or happy or painless. In fact, if I traced the thread back far enough, there was a lot of pain. Elaine would not have given Pip to me if their other cats hadn't, for no reason that we could figure out, decided to turn on her and beat her up so badly that she was just hiding in the cellar terrified all of the time, so that she had to find a new home. I'm not grateful that my poor little kitty went through that. Elaine would never have adopted those 4 tiny kittens in the first place if it hadn't been for the pandemic. I'm not grateful for the pandemic. Buxmont would not have called me to be their minister if I hadn't been rejected by the congregation that I thought was my first choice up in Massachusetts. I ended up grateful for that because Buxmont was a way better fit, but I didn't know that at the time. And for that matter, I would never have thought about becoming a minister in the first place if my dad had not died of cancer when I was 20. I'm not grateful for that either. So it gets very complicated, you see. But to me, that's exactly the point. The things for which we feel the most gratitude in our lives can be tangled up with some of the worst things, too. Some of the most powerful experiences I have had of human compassion have come during the most horrible times of my life. If we follow a gratitude chain in detail, it's bound to take us past some pretty hard stuff along the way. And that is exactly the paradox of being alive and being human. And that's the paradox that Merwin is struggling with, I think, in his poem. In the midst of even the hardest stuff, then, there's also always that possibility of something good emerging further down the path. We're in the midst of troubled times right now, more troubled for some of us than for others. But whether we're feeling our own pain or whether we are aching and angry over the pain that others are experiencing, it's really easy to get stuck in the anger and the despair, the sense of hopelessness, and to become bitter. But the world is worth repairing, and paying attention to what is life-giving and hopeful can give us the courage and the strength and the determination to do our little piece of that work of repair. Starting from one small thing, we can trace a chain of gratitude that weaves its way through all of the struggling and the suffering and reminds us that amidst all of it, there is always also beauty. We just need one small thing to get us started saying thank you, dark though it is.
Thank you, Libby. Our November Shared Plate recipient is AHTN, the Advocates for Homeless and Those in Need. AHTN runs Code Blue. They run Wheels to Meals, where they take homeless folks to congregations to provide meals for them. They also provide transportation, emergency shelter, laundry and shower assistance, and much more. So as long as I'm in the right spot in the service, we thank you. Please donate generously and give with your heart. Thank you for your generosity. Now's the time in our service when we recognize and lift up one another in love. Please come up to this microphone to share your joy or sorrow. I'll actually start. This goes along with the theme of gratitude. Just very joyful about the beauty of the fall this year. It's just been one of those places I go to when, like Libby said, we're dealing with very dark times, and it's just a way to just be grateful and see the beauty around us, even when things are dark. So I'm sure a lot of us have enjoyed that this year.
Hi, I'm Rich Kelly. I have a friend, Brian, who just recently ended up riding his bike. He's been riding for almost 70 years. And he ended up being blinded by light and headed right into a truck. I think the truck wasn't moving, so the impact was about 20 miles per hour. But he's going to be needing help, I guess, for the next many weeks to come, because that kind of thing. One other little thing, something happened to me a couple weeks ago, and it was very unusual. And it happened in the middle of the day, and it happened 2 days in a row. And that was, I experienced happiness. I was happy. I was just happy, and I couldn't pinpoint it. In fact, you know, I grew up Catholic, so there's a lot of not being happy that I expect. So when this happened out of the blue, I couldn't pinpoint it, but I just appreciated it. And there's gratitude for you right there. I do appreciate it. I hope every day it happens again, but.
Good morning. I'm Nancy. We're just very grateful that our granddaughter is going to be flying in from LA this week to run in the Philadelphia Marathon on Sunday. And then she'll stay through Thanksgiving. So it's nice to have her here for that long.
Whether or not you shared today, for your joys, we in this community join you in celebration. For any sorrows or concerns, may you feel our sympathy and compassion. And now I believe Bobby is going to lead us in Blessed Spirit of My Life.
Please join in singing together. The words are up on the screen. Blessed Spirit of my life, give me strength through stress and strife. Help me live with dignity. Let me know serenity. Fill me with a vision. Clear my mind of fear and confusion. When my thoughts flow restlessly, let peace find a home in me.
Please join me in a meditation. Spirit of generosity, we come to you with hearts overflowing with gratitude for your abundant creation. As we awaken each morning, help us to remember this day is a gift, this breath is grace, this life a wonder. Remind us with every flower we see, every act of kindness, every moment of connection to something so much bigger than ourselves, to whisper thank you. Cultivate in us a sense of awe and trust in your lavish grace. Let each word of thanks we offer expand our hearts until delight inhabits us, and we know love as our sustenance. From Christine Walters Painter. And now please rise in body or spirit to sing We Gather Together.
Please join in with me. We gather together in joyful thanksgiving, acclaiming creation whose bounty we share. Both sorrow and gladness we find now in our living. We sing a hymn of praise to the life that we bear. We gather together to join in the journey, confirming, committing our passage to be a true affirmation in joy and tribulation, when bound to human care and hope, then we are free.
The flame is extinguished, but our gratitude continues in action. May your appreciation for life's gifts translate into work that extends the same blessing to others. Our service is concluded. For those of you on Zoom, thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you again next week. In the meantime, I'd like to thank Rev Libby Smith for a wonderful sermon today. Libby was the minister when I first joined, and many of her sermons really touched my heart and continue to do so. For all who are here, please join us in the cafeteria for coffee, fellowship, and conversation. Go now in peace. Amen and blessed be. Amen.